Glitches. So mysterious and elusive. A sudden malfunction. A surprising irregularity. Some of them are game-breaking, and others are extremely exploitative. The famous Fire Emblem 7 Blazing Sword Mind Glitch is one such oddity that falls in the latter camp. The Mind Glitch, or the Enemy Control Glitch, is a bug that occurs when an enemy or an NPC from FE7 steps on a mine and the player resets the game. Upon playing again, the player is now in complete control of the computer. They can do the exact same things as an ally can do: trade, rescue, fight, literally anything. It can even control enemies in Fog of War, although you need to find out where they are manually. This is a famous glitch for a few reasons. It's incredibly easy to perform, literally just resetting the game and coming back to it. And 2, it's really good on certain chapters to completely exploit enemies, take their enemy exclusive items, and turn all enemies into EXP banks. And generally, it's a really fun glitch to perform. In Blazing Sword, using the glitch on an enemy with a droppable last item can have them be an impromptu hammerne, as when you kill that enemy and you get the item back, it is fully restored in its uses. Basically, the Mind Glitch is a feature that trivializes any map you don't want to play, that can allow a droppable item enemy to drop whatever other enemy item or weapon you'd like, and can turn them all into sitting ducks, and anything else you could possibly think of that you can do. Most famously though, is using the Mind Glitch against Vaida to trade her spear to a shaman whose last item is set to being droppable, giving you the famous Uber Spear, a spear that gives some incredible souped up passive buffs to whoever wields it. As a kid, I loved using this glitch. When I first tried it, I was scared that I'd break the game indefinitely if I wasn't careful. I mean, look at what happens when you trade with generic enemies. This kind of freaked me out, but I persevered. Thankfully, stealing enemy items from glitchy portraits did not equate to catching a missing no in Pokemon Red. One thing I always wondered though, was why this glitch occurred at all. The wiki doesn't explain the technical details of how come this glitch occurs, but today, with the help of some peers in the hacking community, I come to you explaining why this glitch occurs. This is going to be a short video, because really, the glitch is very easy to explain, and I will do my best to make it as simple as can be. But be warned, the mystery behind the Mind Glitch is about to be unraveled. The Mind Glitch is a mix-up in how the game's memory is set to handle different states of suspend data. Were you ever curious as to how come Fire Emblem GBA games could always remember everything you did immediately? That no matter how hard you tried, resetting the game never allowed you to have any do-over whatsoever. Well, that comes from the game's method of storing suspend data. FEGBA has multiple suspend types, followed by suspends themselves to bring the player to exactly where they left off if they shut off or reset their game. But before I get ahead of myself, let's talk about how the game remembers everything you do with a quick rundown of RAM, or Random Access Memory. RAM temporarily stores all the information a system, in this case the GBA, needs right now and in the future. Many people say it's a computer's short-term memory. It will remember unit stats, their class, their items, hit rates, literally anything the game sees, RAM stores it. We can visually observe this by going into Visual Boy Advance's memory viewer and watching how every action is recorded in memory. So we have a broad idea of how memory is stored and how we can manipulate it in real time. But to prevent the game from completely forgetting everything that happens when we reset or shut down the game, it needs a way to be told what to do after defining a suspend type, creating a suspend, and then loading the suspend to be reused later. I know I just said the word suspend a lot there, but think of it like save data held up to be loaded later if need be, usually in the form of resetting a game or loading a suspended state. By going into offset 203A872 in the memory viewer in Fire Emblem 7, for example, we see one number called a byte. This byte is responsible for telling the game what to do after loading a game from suspend. This number can change depending on where the game is right now. 0 is for player phase. 01 is for player phase before an action, in this case before player combat. 02 is computer phase. 03 is berserk phase. 04 is during an arena fight, and 09 is during a phase switch. This is how come the real-time suspend feature is so prominent. There's an order for every scenario. These bytes will change based on what the player is doing and what phase they're in. No matter what situation, the game is always being told how to load from the ever-changing suspend data. You can't roll back to an earlier point because the points always update and then create a suspend to keep up with you. However, byte 01 in this field, which isn't updated into that specific suspend type until just before the suspend is written, is also updated when a trap is triggered. In other words, byte 01 is used on both ally and computer phase when a unit steps onto a mine. The sequence of events is this. Computer phase begins, 02, and a suspend is written. Then, a computer steps on a mine, and the suspend type changes to 01, and another suspend is written. Then, the player resets. The game's last save, which was on suspend type 01, tells the game to treat the last action as if it were on player phase, and then, the game now thinks it's in player phase mode, giving control to the player on a computer's phase. Afterwards, suspend type now alternates between 00 and 01, then switching into 09, then finally back into player phase at 00. What this all means is that the game accidentally tells itself to finish the player action, then to return to the game as if it were in the hands of the player instead of continuing back into the computer. There is no distinction between player phase before action and something like computer phase before action. No real equivalent to 00 for computers. In 2016, however, a hacker named Brendor, who some of you might recognize, found out by just editing 2 bytes to something else, it changes the assembly instruction at that address to a jump that skips the part that does the suspend if you are standing on a mine. So while the suspend type is changed, there is not a suspend that gets written, meaning this glitch can be avoided, and hackers can create chapters with mines without them having to worry about sneaky players trying to cheat. The hex edit now plays out a mine scenario like this. The computer phase begins at 02 and a suspend is written. Then the computer steps on the mine and suspend type changes to 01. Then the player resets. The game's last save, which was on suspend type 02, resets to the last computer movement while in type 02, which was the game's last suspended state. It continues to proceed like nothing happened after the mine is set off. This is visually demonstrated by the same enemy starting his move from a standing position and not immediately tripping the mine like it was in vanilla. And that, my friends, is the mine glitch explained. And the wonky portraits are just the game trying to use portrait data not from portraits, but instead from the last graphical thing it remembers as portraits, which is sometimes class cards, sometimes wonky portraits of somebody else, sometimes it's PNGs of animations. So yeah, to boil it down even further, the mine glitch occurs because the game treats the reset on a mine the same way whether it's a player, enemy, or an NPC. Some of you watching may have never tried out the mine glitch yourself, but if and when you decide to boot up Blazing Sword, give the game a soft reset when some unsuspecting computer starts catching on purple fire. Thank you to Stan for documenting how the suspend stuff works, and thank you to Smethlin for helping me personally by helping me understand how all of this suspend data works and how the order of it all goes down. Well folks, I hope you guys enjoyed this trivia video about Fire Emblem's mind glitch. This video was really fun to make and it was very educational for myself, and I'm hoping it was the same for you. So whether or not you had to watch this video a second time or whatever, I would really appreciate it if you guys left a like and a comment down below. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, it would really mean a lot if you would consider doing so after maybe checking out the channel some more. So hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Expect some more scripted content coming up, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.